you're struggling to come up with content for your YouTube channel to market your business and to build community, one of the things I do inside of my business is coaching and strategy plans with scripted lines for you to say inside of your video content. Today, we're hanging out with Laura, and we are going to be looking at her YouTube channel to figure out what's some really great and valuable content for her to be creating this week. And you can take some of these tips and apply them to your businesses as well. Laura, tell us a little bit about you.
Well, my name is Laura, and I am the person behind Crojo Corner on YouTube. I publish crochet planners for people to keep track of their crochet projects and their inventory and to keep their projects on track. I also have a YouTube planner out that is also on my website, crojocorner.com. But mostly my YouTube channel focuses on crochet-related projects. I also feature many patterns within a certain category every single week. And, like, for instance, I'll have like a whole bunch of patterns of crochet cardigans, for instance, and I'll go through and just highlight each one, and there's a lot of free patterns in there, so that draws in a lot of attention. And then I also do my own tutorials as well.
And we're going to be taking a look at your YouTube channel today. We've got a lot of really great videos. You've got some great colors going on here. We've got your popular videos. We do have a lot of patterns, which I absolutely love. And we're going to be taking a look at what we can be creating for you today. So we've got some good videos. We've also got a lot of shorts. So I'm really glad that you're leaning into shorts. Shorts are one of the most valuable parts of the YouTube platform right now because they are getting such good reach. We've got a lot of great colors here. So I love seeing all the brightness inside of your channel. We're going to really lean into that because people who are following you are very interested in learning more about how to crochet, what yarn to be using, all of those things. And they want to see the day in the life content. So we're going to talk a little bit about what's going to work well for you. One of the things that I think would take off on your channel, because you do really great tutorials on how to create different things, is to do make it with me videos. So this week I want you to be creating a make it with me. And I want you to just do B-roll footage of this. And I want you to sit there and crochet something and just film yourself. It can be from one angle, it can be from multiple angles, whatever you want. And you're going to speed it up. So this is going to be one of those fast edits where they just watch you in real time, but sped up, creating from start to finish what you're doing. Then either with a voiceover, you can narrate it, or you can use your text overlays and you can actually put the pattern right there. So if you're teaching people how to do it, this is going to be them being able to watch you in time-lapse form, seeing exactly from start to finish what you're doing to create it. And then you're going to be able to put that pattern over it and you can narrate with your voice. Does that sound like something that's going to fit well?
Yes, that's a great idea. I would have never thought of that.
Well, I really like to focus especially on people who are showing behind the scenes of how other people can do things, to show your behind the scenes. Showing the actual process is fantastic. And people like to sit and watch things in real time. But if you're making a really big project and they're not going to be listening to you the entire time, or for your own sake, you don't want to sit there and for 2 hours narrate step by step what you're doing, this is a really great option because they still get that real-time feel. They get to see you from start to finish create something that they too are going to be creating. And then you can, with your voice, you can narrate it. Say, oh, be careful of this part. This part was a little bit tricky. Make sure you remember to do these things. Here's how I do it. Here's how I create the space in which I am most creative to do my crocheting. You can do this too. And then have that text overlay with the pattern on it. So this should be about 20 to 40 seconds long. That's how fast we're going to go with the video that you are doing. And again, this can be one singular video where you're just setting up the camera and filming it. And then that's it. You're just speeding that up. Or you can move it from place to place. So depending on how long the project is, maybe you're not going to sit there for 3 hours and do it all in one sitting. If that's the case, I would recommend every half hour or so, you're going to move the location of your phone as you're recording so that you can kind of stitch it together like a story. Everything's still going to be really fast and at the same rate, but that way you're going to be able to have different views of it and it feels like an intentional choice, not necessarily that you got up to go eat dinner and pick the kids up from school and whatever it happens to be. And so that will keep that visual interest. So you want to keep it as short as possible. You want to probably narrate it with your voice, talk about something, some behind the scenes of it or where you're working or whatever. And then you want that text overlay with the steps or with the pattern that they're going to be using. And I feel like that'll take off. And that, if it does start to take off, could be a really good ongoing series for you. That could be a once a week thing. That could be once every couple weeks thing. But that'll be good when you're doing projects just to set it up and film that B-roll, which you can then use later too.
That's awesome. Great idea.
Right? We love a good behind the scenes. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do make it with me and B-roll with pattern text overlay for you. So if you are listening at home and you are creating things in real time, do the B-roll, do the time lapse. That will work really well for you. Now, another thing that I feel is going to be really good for you, because we are heavily leaning into how you're using your patterns, I want a behind the scenes short video of how you create your or not how you create your patterns, how you use the planners. So you've got a lot of planners on your website. You've got them on Amazon. They're available to people to buy. I want behind the scenes. So I was scrolling through your videos. I don't see a lot of promotion of that. And I don't need to be salesy with this, but I need to understand as a consumer, how would I use this in my everyday life? So there's a bunch of ways that you could be doing this. You can go direct to camera and actually show me the planner. You can open it up, take me on a little tour of it, show me how it works, tell me how I can use it in my life. You could also do a lifestyle B-roll of this. So this would be setting the planner on your desk, opening it up, writing down things inside of the planner, and then actually creating whatever it is that you had planned. So you're going to show us in real time how it works. And then if you're going direct to camera, you're just speaking to the camera. If you are going with that B-roll lifestyle, you're going to then do a voiceover and you're going to show us how we can be using that. And because you have multiple planners, then you can actually, again, use this as a little series and you can show us the different versions of your planners and how you're going to be using that. And if you want to really hone down in on it, you can actually do like a day in the life vlog and you can kind of show us what's going on with how you're running your businesses. And then just in part of that, you can show us how you use it for yourself and how they can be using it as well. Does that feel good?
Yes. Yes. That's a great idea.
It's always important to make sure we are showing off what we are offering to people. So often we create really good, valuable things that we are offering to people, and then we forget to market it, or we forget to use it ourselves. We forget to show it off, and we forget to show them how they can use it. Whenever we create a product, it's incredibly important to make sure we're solving a problem. But if we don't remind people that they have that problem, why would they need our product? And this is something I struggle with a lot. I have so many products and courses that I offer to people in coaching, and I'm so busy over here just adding value to people, I frequently forget that I also need to be reminding them that they can pay me for things so that I can make an income. So that's one that we need to heavily lean into. So we're going to do how to use planner for your second video. We also want to make sure that we are looking at what you're doing on your YouTube channel. So if we take a look at your YouTube channel, I have noticed there's a couple of things that stand out a little bit that aren't quite in alignment with what you're doing with your yarn. So if we're not crocheting, you've got things like the Easter Bunny, cool places to go. You've got more cool places to go, but they're kind of outliers with the rest of your content. And so I love the idea of being multifaceted. I love the idea of having a lot of different things that we can be talking about, but I want to make sure that it actually connects to the rest of your content. So right now, as I'm going through, it just kind of seems a little abrupt to talk about Michigan, or to talk about the really cool lake, or to talk about the cool food. I want you to draw it into your crocheting life, which means I want you to do one of two things with this. You can either show us a really cool location and then show a project you made, or show yourself crocheting in it. I'm a girl who crochets. I love to crochet. And there was a time when I would carry some of my crocheting, as long as it wasn't too big, in my bag as I was out doing things. And whenever I had free time, I would just work on a project. So if you carry around like a small skein of yarn, you can just start crocheting while you're out on that beautiful bench by that beautiful lake that you're showing us. And that draws it into the conversation. And
makes more sense that way. Yeah.
Treat it like day in the life. The other thing is you can use those locations to then inspire one of your products. So let's say you've got that beautiful lake and you've got the bench there. You can take that B-roll footage and say, this scene inspired this crocheted cup cozy. And you can show us the mug cozy koozie, however we're going to say it today. And you can show us the colors that you pulled from that, or the way that you designed the different waves in it. All of those things can be inspired by locations. Then, if you really want to double down on this, as you create more of this, you can start reaching out to local places, local things in your area, or places you're traveling, and say, hey, listen, I've got this segment on my YouTube channel where I have taken this really cool park and designed this really cute colored bear with different stripes on it. inspired by this. I've
Mhm.
taken this local boutique with their really cool signs and all the stuff inside of it, and I created this bunny rabbit with all the little hearts and the cutesy boutique type things inspired by this. Would you like to do something for you? And you can do collaborations with local people. At first, it can be just a fun thing. You can kind of build up some excitement. You might even get some news coverage for it. And then eventually you can start translating it into paid sponsorships to create things inspired by people's companies. So you can
Mhm.
really play that one forward. But I love the idea of using your cool locations to inspire your projects or to use those cool locations to show some B-roll footage of you creating in those locations. Does that
That's
feel good?
awesome. Yes, great idea.
Right? I love locations. So locations as inspiration or places to work. And that ties everything in and it opens up some new avenues for you as well, which we always love to make sure that we are
Mhm.
multifaceted in what we're doing. Once you have niched down, once you have really figured out what you're doing and how you're doing it, then you can start to build in those other things. And I like that you're starting to draw those in. So now's a good opportunity to really bring it into the crochet side of things. Now, getting back into the conversation of your audience, people are showing up so that they can learn from you. One of the big things that I know a lot of people ask is, how do I actually know which yarn to pick? I don't know what's best for this project. And so, because you're educational, because you're showing off the different projects, and because you like to take us on tours of where you are going to get your yarn and what yarn is available and all those things I've noticed in your content, I want you to do a short piece of content where you're showing me how to pick the right yarn for the right project. You can show me things to look for in good yarn. I know as somebody who does crochet, not all yarn is created equal. I
Mhm.
have definitely had issues with some of my yarn breaking and falling apart and just kind of fraying everywhere and pieces of fuzz flying in my face. So I want you to show me the good, the bad, the ugly. And I want you to be very, very clear. And again, this can be a great series. This is good. Here's what to look for. X, Y, Z. Here's what to avoid. X, Y, and Z. And show me different types. You can even highlight some of your favorite brands. If you have brands that you like to work with, show me that and tell me why you like those things. So we're going to be very clear about what makes a good skein of yarn and what makes something that we should maybe stay away with. Do you feel like that's good?
Yes. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Wonderful. Okay. So, how to pick a good skein of yarn. And again, you can move that right on out into a series. You can even talk about like colors, what makes for a good crochet color, because some things end up so very neon when we don't want them to, and some
Mhm.
things end up a little bit bland when you put it all together. So sometimes the color that you see on the skein is going to be a little bit different than the finished project. So when you have the opportunity, to kind of highlight some of the good and the bad, you can expand it into a lot of different worlds. But because we know you also have a ton of yarn, I've seen a lot of yarn on your platform, which you should. That is the medium that you're working with. I want you to take us behind the scenes of what you are doing. And I want you to show us how you store your yarn stash. Because as a girl who crochets, I have so much yarn and I don't know what to do with it. I have it sitting in bins. I've got it sitting in baskets next to wherever I'm going to be working on these projects. I don't know what to do with them. I don't have a system for it. I don't know the best way to be functional with all of that and keep things from tangling and getting lost or rolling away. So I, for myself, would love to know how you store your yarn. Show me the closet you keep it in. Show me the place that you store it in and how you make sure it doesn't get all tangled and destroyed and rolls away. Does that
Mhm.
feel like a good thing?
Okay. I don't have that great of a system.
No. Well, okay. So if you don't have a system, say, hey, this is what I've got going on right now. Maybe you are like me and you have it in 17 places around your house.
Mhm.
And so I want you to then document this. Here's how I store my yarn stash. And you're going to show me different clips. You can hold your phone up and you can just point to where it is.
Okay.
You don't even have to be on camera if you don't want to, or you can stand there and Vanna White it. Either way works. And then at the end, we're giving a really good call to action. I need a better way to do this. How do you do this? Or what do you recommend? And
That's good.
you don't have to change anything, but this is a great way to get that collaboration going with people and to invite conversation. So as we're doing this, as we're creating any of these pieces of content, we don't necessarily want to focus on education, 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 in your face, information, information, instruction. We do want to be bringing people into the conversation. I know you do a lot of live streams. I know you have a lot of conversation with your audience. So that's already something that you are heavily doing inside of your platforms. But, saying that I don't have everything figured out. I'm really, really good at all of these things, but here's my flaw. Here's the area I am not so strong at. What do you guys think? You know me so well. What do you think I should do? How should I do this? And they can give you options. If they give you ideas, you can actually try some of them. You don't have to go full scale. Let's say they suggest you are going to put your yarn in baskets. Get a basket, put some of your yarn in it, see how it feels, create a video as a response, and you have the ability to then say, hey, I tried it. What do you guys think? Do we like this? Should I expand on this? I tried a little bit of this. Should I do it all the way? You can go on and on with this series by getting their opinions and testing them out. And you can also say, here's an option for storing your yarn, and just try it for that 1 week and then do something else. You could put just a couple of skeins in whatever that trial is going to be. And that way you don't have to overexert yourself to do it, but you're giving other people options. Does that feel a little bit better?
Yes, very good.
Beautiful. I definitely get it though, because I have absolutely no system on that. And when I'm creating things, I'm really good at creating whatever it is, but the storage of it, the backside, the back end that people don't see does not always work in my favor. I'm a very creative person, but I'm behind the scenes a little messy. I'm a
Me
little
too.
messy. I have a strategy for it, so.
Me too.
Beautiful. How to store yarn, stash, and use as community builder. I love that one. That's fantastic. And I love that we took an idea that was okay and kind of worked for you, and we found a way to make it fit better. So if you're coming up with ideas, or if you're seeing other people come up with really cool ideas and you want to do something, but it doesn't feel like the right fit for you, I want you to take that idea, take that concept, and then see what other path we can go on. I'm a big fan of not just barging forward with the same thing that everybody else does. I like to take the path less taken. I like to hike up the hill or down in the valley and make it a little bit harder on myself because it's a unique angle. And if I'm doing the same thing as everybody else, it gets a little boring and it gets lost in the feed. If, however, you're doing something just a little bit different, it's going to highlight you and make you stand out just a little bit more. So if you ever hit that wall where it's like, okay, look and see, how can we make it better? How can we do something a little bit differently? Or how can this fit what I've already got going on? That tends to be when the best ideas come out of the conversations. All right, so with that in mind, we've talked a little bit about how you can do Make It With Me videos. We're going to be talking a little bit about your inspiration with locations. We're going to talk about your planners. We're going to talk about picking a good skein of yarns. We're being very educational with that. We know that instructional content and the educational content is being pushed on all of the social platforms right now. We also talked a little bit about how you can use what you've got right here and now with how you do your behind the scenes as a community builder and a conversation starter for your audience. I know that by looking at your YouTube channel, you are very, very good at bringing them into your day-to-day and what you are doing. And you actually have some videos where you're doing hauls of yarn from different locations. So I want you to take us on a yarn shopping trip. And I want this to be very day in the life. Right now with your hauls and your stashes, you are in the store and you're showing us what's available. So you go to whatever store it happens to be and you just show us what's on the shelves, what they've got right now so that other people can go and get it. I want you to expand on this. I want you to turn this into a day in the life vlog. So I know you've seen some of my content where I am showing the behind the scenes of my author life, and I will take people through a progression of my day. I don't want you to go through your entire day, but I do want you to go through the progression of your shopping trip. So if you're going somewhere, you have to get in your car and you have to drive there. From the moment you step outside of your car, this is your opportunity to take us through the progression of that shopping trip. So I want you to set up your phone and I want you to film yourself walking toward the store with the big sign up above. And this can be a little tricky. I do this, so I know it can be a little tricky. You can either prop it up against like the window of your car. It might be at a slight angle. You can prop it on the dashboard and shut your car door and then walk away and then just come walk right back. literally like a take 15 steps and then you've got the clip you need and you go back and you get your phone. So you're going to set it up so that it films you walking in. You can also, you can take a step by step. So you can film straight down on your feet as you're walking across the pavement. You can pan it up to the sign again. You can get a lot of footage as you're walking in. If you're walking into a store and it's not too crowded, I don't want you to do this if it's crowded, if there's a lot going on, you can prop up your phone somewhere and show yourself walking through the sliding glass doors. So it's like you're walking up to the building, then you're walking into the building, but from the inside. So we're getting those different B-roll clips of this. Then you are just going to put your phone on some of the displays and get yourself walking through the store. This does not have to be a big, long part of the process because our goal is to get you to the yarn, but we want to see you getting there. We want to see that progression. So little short 2-second clips of you walking down one aisle, then maybe turning, another clip of you turning again, just little, and it can be from the front, the side, or the back. Doesn't matter, whatever is comfortable for you or wherever you can find a location to prop it up. If you have somebody with you, they can film for you. If you have a tripod, you can set that up. You have watched a lot of my videos, so you know the tech side of things. We talk about the tripods, we talk about the phone mounts, we talk about ways that you can stick your phone to the wall. There's like little sticky things you can put on the back of your phone. So you know all of that, but if you at home are looking for that, I will link the tech playlist down below so you can get all of these things. You then have the opportunity to do that progression. So you're walking toward the yarn and then you're going to walk up to the yarn. And at this point, now you can start to show me what you are finding in their wall of yarn, whatever that looks like. You can lift things up. You can do the close-ups. You can do the further away, all of those things. If you want to be on camera for that part, you can. You don't have to. You can talk directly to camera at that point if you want. And then you can, if you are purchasing anything, you're going to pick all those things up, have them in your arm, walk with them, drop them in your cart, whatever it is, but you're filming all of those little clips, stitching them together. And then you can film yourself going up to pay for them and them ringing it up or you putting it on the conveyor belt or whatever it happens to be. If you want walking out of the store, you can, but at that point, I would probably just end it at the point of you purchasing it. And then you're going to do a voiceover and tell us what you found, where you went, all the fun things. This should be about 20 to 30 seconds long, no longer than that. Very quick day in the life. And I would introduce it by saying day in the life of a professional crocheter or something like that so that people know exactly what they're saying. Does that feel attainable?
Yes. Yes.
Beautiful. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we are going to say yarn shopping trip day in the life roll. All right. How do you feel about all these? Do we feel like we're getting a well-rounded look at what you do? Okay.
Yes.
Is there one area you feel like we haven't quite touched on yet inside of what you're doing with your business?
Do you have any recommendations for the live streams?
Live streams. We love a good live stream. Okay. That's a really good place because you do live stream, what is it, once per week inside of your channel? Twice per week. Beautiful. See, we love people who get the work done. So you are live streaming. Do you have a specific type of content that you do every time you live stream?
Yes, I usually go to the website Ravelry and I pick out patterns, in a certain category, and then we look at them all. And then I usually give away one of the patterns at the end of my live.
Okay, fabulous. So do they pick it with you while you're live on air? Or do they pick it before?
I usually have about 35 to 40 patterns that I pick out prior to the live, and then I show them one by one. And then I'll have like 1 or 2 patterns that they could choose from that they want for the giveaway.
Okay, fantastic. And do they do this with you live in real time or are you doing it? And okay, beautiful. So I really like the idea of doing things together. What I might recommend is that as you continue to expand this, you open it up this week to a fan joining you on air. And you can have them on as a guest. That'll give you the ability to have a conversation with somebody so you don't have to carry it for the full length of the project. I know as somebody who live streams, it can be really hard if you are the sole person talking and engaging. Yes, people are sending in comments and texts for you, and you can read those off and have those conversations, but it still can be very taxing on you physically to be speaking for an hour or more on a live stream while also crocheting and doing work and showing things off and hosting the show. It's a lot of work. Physically, that's a lot of work. So I would love to see you open it up to an audience member. Now, I don't want you to bring them on just willy-nilly. I want you to run this kind of like a contest. Do you feel like you can be a good co-host with me for an episode? Do a little bit of vetting in advance. Know who these people are. This is not your newbie fans. This is not for people you are unfamiliar with. If people are showing up and they're consistently talking to you, you're going to allow them to apply to come and join you. With that in mind, you are going to bring somebody on with you. You'll start your live stream. I would have you start it just like you normally do, but say you've got a special guest. Go through the process of picking out whatever it is that you're doing with your audience as normal, and then you're going to bring on your guest. At this point, you can almost treat it like an interview. So you're going to continue to have a conversation about what you're doing and how you're doing it. You're going to guide everybody through the process, but in between, you're also going to ask them about their crochet life, and you're just going to highlight what they do. So I want you to show off your community. The more you show off your community and bring them into your channel, that's going to draw more people to you. So by highlighting them and showing who they are and what they do and all the fun things that they've got going on while they're following you, that's going to bring in more people for you. So you are treating this like a little mini interview in the middle of what you're creating. So you're going to educate, you're going to keep crocheting, you're going to show things off, and then in between, when things get a little quiet or when you don't have to necessarily be educating on what you're doing, you're going to ask them another question. So how did you get started with your crochet life? What's the favorite thing that you've ever crocheted? What color do you like crocheting with the best? Do you have a specific hook that you like? Do you like the metal hooks, the plastic hooks, the wooden hooks? What is your crochet life like? And you're just going to kind of highlight it and let them have their own fangirl, fanguy moment in your presence as you're doing this together. You're going to ask how they're doing. You're going to ask them for their tips and things like that. And that way you're building up that community. You're showing people off. You don't have to carry the entire conversation. And you're encouraging people to show up live, because when people show up live, they then get these interactions with you. You're going to have a lot of people show up on your replays. Those people don't get those same interactions. And if people are showing up after the fact, they're less likely to be able to join you in the future. And so I would look up to do this about once every quarter to once every month. Anywhere in there is going to be fine for you to bring on a guest. I wouldn't do it every single episode, but that takes a lot of the weight off of you. Does that feel good?
It does. I have had some of my friends just come up on the panel with me, but I've never done it like interview style. They just kind of interacted with the chat and with me as well. So bringing somebody on and interviewing them, I think that would make it a little more interesting. And I have somebody in mind already.
Oh, perfect. So if you've got somebody in mind, I would approach them. I would have that conversation and see if you can bring them on this week as part of this conversation, and then open it up to other people if you feel comfortable with it. If it feels good, if it feels like it's something that they want to see more of, then you can say, okay, we're going to do this again next month. If you want to be considered for this, here's the information you have to send me, and here's the location. We're going to pick another person, and you can decide how you want to do that. If it's going to be a random luck of the draw based on who signed in, if it's going to be you specifically going through and having them say, here's why I want to join you. Here's what I promised to do while we're on air. You can pick that way, whatever you want, but be very clear if you're going to open it up to people, what the expectations are, and what they need to send you information-wise, so that you can make a choice on who's going to be joining you next, and have that then be a surprise to everybody but the person who is joining you. That person obviously needs to know in advance, but everything else should be hush-hush, and you can make a big reveal of it when you do those live streams.
That's awesome. Thank you for that.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And I do love having people on, because it does allow you to have those great conversations. So guest interviews on live streams. And again, that can be anywhere from once a month to once a quarter. So if you want it once a month, that's great. If you want it spaced out a little bit more, every couple of months is fine. Every 3 months is fine, whatever works best for you. You may, if you're not sure which way you want to go with this, you may want to jump in and try one a month for a quarter, just to see if that's flexible for you, if it's going to feel good, if it's going to help alleviate some of the physical demands of live streaming so consistently on your platform, and then make that choice on whether you're going to go with once a month, once every 2 months, once a quarter, whatever that happens to be. So treat it like a summer event and a summer extravaganza. You're going to test this out with people. Does that feel good?
Yes. Yes.
Beautiful. And of course, we want to make sure that as people are learning a little bit more about you and what you do, that they are able to reach out to you. So where can everybody find you online?
You can find me on YouTube at Crojo Corner, and also you can check out my website, crojocorner.com. And I do have all of my planners on my website as well as on Amazon.
And if this has felt good to you today, if this has helped you, give you some inspiration and allowed you to figure out what you're going to be doing in your process, you may also want to check out coaching with me, or you may want to check out our action plans, which are line by line exactly what you are going to be saying inside of your videos on one of your social platforms so that you don't have to worry about what's going to work best for you. I'm going to tell you exactly what's going to work well for you, and then you can film it and move on with your life. So we've got lots of resources for you down below. Today, we talked a lot about tech and gear, so we will be linking that playlist for you as well. And if you've got questions on any of this, make sure you drop those down below. We are going to be doing more episodes where I'm taking you behind the scenes of coaching and helping entrepreneurs just like Laura to figure out what's going to be best for their social platforms and how to create the different aspects of their businesses inside of the content that they're creating so they can be more profitable online but spend less time and less stress getting that content created. Questions, comments, drop them down below. And every single day, we're dropping videos to help you navigate the world of social media so that you can make more money online but spend less time doing it. We'll see you in the upcoming episodes.